So in the framework of COCO 2, the Marine Service already provided some data. The collaboration will continue as the CO2 MVS is now ramping up. It will expand in 2024, but also in the coming years. So I expect that this collaboration will develop. And you mentioned in your presentation this service level agreement that we are currently discussing, and I think that this is also a good way to develop this mutual collaboration, to understand also mutual needs that we have, and to put on the table, to also foresee what we will need in the future for a sustainable collaboration. So I'm very happy. Many thanks for that, and I am also very confident for the future. Thank you.
Many thanks, Laurence. We are also very much looking forward to the finalization of this service level agreement, working together during this ramping up phase of this important new capacity of CAMS with the CO2 MVS. So thank you very much for your input there. I propose that we now move to the Copernicus land monitoring service with Andrus Miner. So I repeat the question perhaps because it's been quite a while. It's pretty straightforward. I'm asking you basically if you can please summarize the interactions that you had with Mercator Ocean and the Copernicus Marine Service over the past year, 2023, and what are the plans for 2024 and beyond? Thank you, Andrus.
Thank you, Angelique. Well, first, good afternoon and welcome to Copernicus Marine General Assembly. As you just mentioned, we are indeed about to draw the lines under the land monitoring General Assembly. So we heard also the presentation from your colleague about Coastal Hub. So I would say that we have some practical touch points by simply organizing bilateral meetings between our entrusted entities and sharing implementation plans. But probably more important is what are we producing that is relevant for marine service. And as you know, we are working on the hydrographic features, the products called EU Hydro, which are providing the river networks as well as lakes, but also coastline, which is probably more important for you as well. And in this connection, we are also working on the land products which are close to the sea. So the obvious one is coastal zone, which is already included in the coastal hub, but also others like urban atlas and riparian zones are also touching the seafront, and that's why they are becoming important as well. Well, in addition, we also work on high resolution data on water, snow, and ice, which is monitoring the presence of the water in its all phases. So with these data sets, we are contributing to also your agenda, I mean, the marine service. Well, I already mentioned a couple of times the Medicubs, and indeed, this is the important way forward. We just foresee the overall cooperation. The coastal hub is, of course, most relevant for us because by definition, it touches the land. And this is where we're looking forward to have a joint results. All right, but in addition to our data production, we're also in charge of Copernicus cross-cutting in situ component, as you are aware. And my colleague Jose Miguel Rubio already was participating in the panel, so you have maybe heard from him. I would just quickly remind, in the interest of time also, that as an in situ coordinator, we are providing the coordination across all services and raising awareness about the value of in situ data for Copernicus. We are acting as facilitator of access to the data and removing the barriers. There are some reports which are produced, the survey. We are also supporting the reprocessing of the data. So I cannot go into details of this, but I think all this is familiar to you. We also look at the next steps in the context of Copernicus in situ component. So to emphasize that in addition to CLMS, we are also busy with in situ. Well, coming to the second question, what are recommendations? I think we are looking for more integrated view on services across all of them. And at least where the topics are recommending or suggesting that we could cooperate, like where the thematic and geographical overlap occurs, these are obviously the prime contenders. And then I'm coming again back to the thematic hub, because the coastal thematic hub is certainly way forward in the right direction. This is where our cooperation is happening naturally. And we are looking forward to this. We are still working on our proposal for biodiversity thematic hub, but when we finally get going with this, we will have more reciprocal approach in this cooperation as well. So I would conclude that even more inter-service activities for future, and particularly for the coastal areas. Thank you.
Many thanks, Andrus, for those insights on the Copernicus Land Monitoring Service. So we now move to the Copernicus Security Service with Raquel Carmo from EMSA.
Hello, good afternoon. First, thank you for the invitation, and just to provide a bit of an overview to everyone of the Copernicus Maritime Surveillance Service. This is a part of the Copernicus Security Services and is implemented by EMSA under a contribution agreement signed with the Commission for the period between 2021 and 2027. And currently, CMS offers to its users a wide range of high-quality Earth observation products covering areas of European interest across the globe with a variety of sensors and resolutions. And currently, CMS faces an operational challenge very focused on the Arctic region, which is the ability to accurately differentiate between vessels and icebergs. At present, this ability is constrained by limitations on the sensors technology. Although both features can be detected in synthetic departure radar imagery, in certain cases they may not be distinguishable, particularly in the case of small icebergs or vessels measuring up to 15 meters in size. And in order to tackle this issue, we have been exploring synergies with other Copernicus services, namely with the Marine Service, in order to understand which potential layers of information could bring added value and could be fused with our current products, namely SAR imagery or vessel tracking information, so that we can increase our accuracy and reduce false positives. And our discussions have led us to specific data sets of sea ice products from the Copernicus Marine Data Store, in particular sea ice concentration and thickness charts provided in the Arctic region. Additionally, in December last year, the Copernicus Security Services held the second annual Strategic Research Agenda workshop, which was hosted by EMSA in Lisbon. And during this workshop, we had the pleasure to have Muriel Lux from Mercator SatCen giving a presentation on the synergies between the security and the marine services, where the Arctic thematic hub was presented, as well as these sea ice products. And our plans moving forward are to analyze these documentations, the data documentation associated to each product, the technical specifications, and conduct feasibility studies on their potential integration in our operational activities as an additional layer of information. And CMS also aims to continue to strengthen this link between the services and to continue to closely monitor the latest developments of new sea ice products by the Copernicus Marine Service, as well as improvements on the existing ones.
Thank you, Raquel. Before giving you the floor, Kate, on EMODnet, before moving to EMODnet, I would like to ask Denis Bruckert our last panelist from Copernicus Services. Thank you, Denis, to turn on your camera actually, and to answer the same question regarding the Copernicus Security Service, please. Thank you.
Sure, thank you very much, and Angelique, for inviting us. Thanks to also the Copernicus Marine Service, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will say a few words about what we did together in 23. First of all, okay, some word on the Copernicus service for EU external and security action. So it's a European geospatial information service that assists the EU and its member states by enhancing the situational awareness needed by the institutional stakeholders working in security related domain. So we had very valuable interaction as a Copernicus support external action with the Copernicus Marine Service in 23. First, we participated in the workshop you organized in January on the Copernicus thematic hubs, coastal and Arctic. And this provided very valuable insight on how we could get access to some interesting data for the service we developed. So we had further, would say, more bilateral technical meetings to discuss fit for purpose data and use case for the Copernicus Marine Service to contribute to our service. And so we addressed several relevant products, ocean monitoring indicators for Arctic security, for example, and also My Ocean viewer. So we invited the Marine Service in a project called ARCOS, which is a Horizon 2020 project, which is also associated to the service evolution of the support to external action service we implemented. And this ARCOS project is to develop and implement an early warning system for the continuous monitoring of the Arctic region as part of the Copernicus service in support to external action. So Mercator Ocean provided a presentation on the Copernicus Marine Service for the Arctic, highlighting open data service relevant for Arctic situational awareness. And so this would say contributed to a better understanding within the security community of this project of the potential of marine service data. And as a consequences, we integrated in the ARCOS platform data from the CMES service for Arctic, for example, for navigation on Greenland and Svalbard, ice charts. And also we were integrating sea ice concentration and individual icebergs observed with Sentinel-1, Arctic sea ice thickness, the ice concentration. So we integrated some data from the Marine Service. So, I mean, in conclusion, I would say that the interaction we had in 23 demonstrated the potential to contribute to our service. Now it's not TEA, it's TESA, because we signed a new contribution agreement on support to external and security actions. So the service we deliver will be is wider, in fact. So, I mean, we are looking forward in 24 to continue to explore synergies. And also, since we plan to implement ARCOS in the new CESA service, this will bring together what we already developed with you, bring some products from the Marine Service. Thank you.
Thank you, Denis. So yeah, thank you also for illustrating that our white ocean product dealing with sea ice are essential, are really instrumental for key users and stakeholders, such as the Copernicus Security Service as well. So now I would like to leave the floor to Kate Larkin for EMODnet, because we've heard, so EMODnet is not part of the Copernicus services, but we've heard quite a lot today about EMODnet. It's been highlighted several times in different presentations. So Kate, perhaps to start with, could you please clarify how EMODnet and Copernicus Marine are working together? And again, what are the plans for the coming year and beyond? Thank you, Kate.
Thank you very much, Angelique, and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I'd like to just take a moment to congratulate Copernicus Marine Service, but all the other Copernicus services that have presented on all the achievements to date. So I'm here representing EMODnet that you've heard a little bit about today. EMODnet is a sort of sister EC Marine Data Service to Copernicus Marine Service. It's a EC data service of DG Mare, and it's the leading service for providing standardized and harmonized in situ marine data and data products at the EU level. So the diverse EMODnet offer spans hundreds of variables across 7 broad thematic areas. So this is the bathymetry or the seafloor topography, the biology, which is the full biodiversity, chemistry, geology, physics, seabed habitats, and human activities. So there are many long-standing and ongoing interactions between EMODnet, Mercator Ocean International, and Copernicus, specifically the Marine Service up to this point. These really range from quite operational coordination, such as data flows, to the European digital twin of the ocean, which you've heard a little bit about also today, and other joint activities. So I don't have much time today, but I'd like to highlight just a couple of specific collaborations. The first one that I'd like to mention is EMODnet's cooperation with the Copernicus Marine Service In Situ TAC, so the Thematic Assembly Centre for In Situ, and specifically the Marine In Situ Cooperation Group. That's co-chaired by Copernicus Marine Service and EMODnet. It also involves Eurogoose that you've heard about as well. And this is a really key group for discussing, standards, best practices, data flows for the operational oceanographic data. So this is a specific subset, but really important subset of in situ data that is of common interest to Copernicus Marine Service and EMODnet. From the EMODnet side, it's mostly the EMODnet physics and chemistry experts that are engaged in this group. But it became increasingly clear within that group that there is a lot of interactions on in situ, and it would be worth having a joint communication on the European Marine Data Services and the offer of in situ. So last year in November 2023, EMODnet and Copernicus Marine Service launched a joint communication on the in situ offer. So I can put the link in the chat if you haven't had the chance to see it yet. But this is really a very short but effective communication of the in situ landscape in Europe. And we're having dialogues to further communicate and produce other outputs in this area as well. And then a second really important collaboration area that you've heard about today is the collaboration between the two services for the digital ocean data services of the European digital twin of the ocean. From the EMODnet side, this was made possible because EMODnet went through a big evolution the last couple of years. In January of last year, 2023, EMODnet unified its thematic services. So the individual portals were switched off, and we now have a common map viewer and metadata catalog. And that was a crucial step to enable the strengthening of the technical cooperation with Copernicus Marine Service. As it's been mentioned, this is concretely being done via the project Editor Infra, which is delivering the backbone infrastructure for the European digital twin ocean. And next week, the pre-operational release will be showcased at the Digital Ocean Forum 2024 in Brussels, and it will be streamed online as well. And then thirdly, I'd like to mention that in terms of the European Marine Data Services, we quite often do joint activities when we interact at the international fora and at Global Ocean data ecosystem discussions. So both as implementing partners for the UN Ocean Decade, we're working together specifically of areas of common interest, for example, representing the European Digital Twin Ocean at international events, such as the UN Ocean Decade Conference. And also, actually, in a couple of weeks, we have a joint webinar with EMODnet, Copernicus Marine Service, and EUMETSAT, also in collaboration with the early career ocean professionals, where we'll deliver a joint webinar on the European Marine Data Services for the UN Ocean Decade. So I hope a lot of you can join us there. And then I just wanted to close in terms of the service evolution. We've heard a lot today about Copernicus Marine Service and the future service evolution, and EMODnet as a community is also looking towards what will come next. During this year, we are developing a community vision focused on the service evolution of EMODnet from now until 2035. We have Copernicus Marine Service via Mercator Ocean International being represented on the drafting group for this vision. And that includes a lot of EMODnet experts covering all of the different components and a few other key actors in the marine knowledge landscape. So there's a direct link in there, but also there'll be a public consultation of EMODnet's Vision 2035 coming out in the summer. So we really encourage wider stakeholder input. We'd love to hear your views and for Copernicus to take part. So I'll close there. Thank you.
Many thanks, Kate. We already reached the end of the time allocated for this roundtable, unfortunately, although there were many things to say. So we would like, with my colleague Corinne, on behalf of Copernicus Marine, to really warmly thank you all for participating to this roundtable, providing fruitful inputs on our interactions. We are certainly looking forward to sustained and strengthened interactions with you all in the future, including for monitoring and reporting capacities that we can also strengthen between the different services. So yes, this will be also strengthening those interfaces that we have with you all, will also be for the benefit of Copernicus overall and for its many users. So thank you very much. And with that, it's now time to move to the last session of the day to provide you with insights on Copernicus Marine in the international landscape. And this session will be moderated by Pierre-Yves Le Traon. So over to you, Pierre. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angelique. So we are coming to the last session of today. It's been a long day, and this is really not the least of the discussion. We will be discussing here the international landscape for Copernicus Marine. As I mentioned in my introductory talk, I mean, we are working a lot in the international context, so we benefit a lot from international collaboration, and we also have a very large international impact. So I'm pleased to introduce this session with first Enrique, that will give us an overview of an activity of the UN-decade Collaborative Center, Ocean Prediction Collaborative Center, and then Marie will talk about OceanPredict program on the symposium that will be organized end of this year. So Enrique, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Pierre-Yves. I would like to just start commenting that since one of the things we are doing at this moment is mapping the ocean forecasting around the globe, mapping the different activities that are present in the different continents. When you do that, it is obvious, it is quite impressive, the weight of what we have achieved during the last decades with Copernicus Marine. And this is really an intro for my presentation that I hope to have control of the slides. Yeah. Sorry, too fast. Yes. So, ocean prediction, this is it. What are we trying to do? Exactly linking with what I just said, not all the regions of the world have the same level of maturity in these techniques related to ocean forecasting. So our vision is to promote ocean forecasting worldwide, to have a predicted ocean based on a shared and coordinated global effort in the framework of the decade. So to achieve this, we need really to work. What is necessary? What do we need to achieve this? We need two pillars to achieve this ability. One is the community building. We need to build a community around ocean forecasting that will serve the people, for example, to ask technical questions, to promote their products, and so on. And we need the technical assets. We need those tools that will permit the people to develop their own ocean forecasting services worldwide. So considering this, we have all this structure of the decade. We are not trying to do this alone. We have on one side the governance and coordination framework, where we are working together with many other similar bodies to the DCC on ocean prediction. We have a very close connection with the DCC on ocean observing and with the DCO on data sharing. And we are working all together in collaboration with the primary endorsed programs in our case, such as 4C, DITO, GEMS Ocean, and not only those, but other very important programs like OceanPredict. So all this gives a framework where we are trying all to work together on the same direction to promote marine science in the framework of the decade. So there could be many ways to promote ocean forecasting worldwide. I agree that there could be many ways, but this is our way. This is what we are going to try to do. So we have created this virtuous loop that will be our engine to promote ocean forecasting around the world. First of all, in the center, we have this community I was mentioning before. This community is the core of all our activities. And we start a part of the community with the knowledge. The knowledge is critical to build systems, to understand the result of the systems, to operate system, to everything. Then, based on this knowledge, people will be able to develop ocean forecasting services. Once these systems are developed, they should be properly operated and upgraded. And finally, when you start having results, you need to integrate this, and as you will see, digital twins of the ocean are a key element on this future integration. This integration will produce results that will produce knowledge that will provide a positive feedback in this virtuous loop. And as I say, we are not doing this alone. We are doing this in collaboration with the different programs of the decade. So how we are going to, I will analyze in more detail this loop and how we are building this. First of all, I start with the community. We have been working during last year in implementing a community that is based on regional teams. You see that we have built regional teams to discuss about ocean forecasting all around the globe based on existing structures, sometimes, other times completely new. And those are, you can see the leaders of the regional teams. But if you see all the institutions that are participating on the steering teams of this regional team, you start getting an idea of the interest that this initiative is raising and the huge ambition of what we are trying to achieve. So all these institutions are officially participating on these regional teams. We're starting to develop the assets also to run these digital teams, to operate with these digital teams. The first of all is the web page that we have recently launched just 1 month ago. There are still some bugs to correct and some things to improve, but the web is up and running. And that will be our focal point for gathering this community I was mentioning before. So one key element is the forum where we will establish our discussion, where people will be able to ask questions, to get technical replies, and so on. There are many different sections where you can ask very specific questions. And then we have the Atlas, which is our focal point to know who is who in our community, to find our different, for example, we have the people that is interested in ocean forecasting. We have the different organizations. We have the forecasting system. This is what you see here. We have just a few of them. This web is starting to be populated. And hopefully in the future, we will have the whole community of ocean forecasting systems located in this atlas. So these are the assets that we are developing to engage our community, to put our community in contact, and also to create this sense of community. Next, in our virtuous loop is our knowledge. The knowledge, the main element, the main asset, I will describe the assets that we are building to facilitate this loop. The main asset that we have now is the TÜV's Guide. The TÜV's Guide, as probably you know, is a book that includes the basic knowledge about ocean monitoring and forecasting. And what we have done is in this webpage that I mentioned in the OceanPrediction DCC, we have moved this tool into a wiki site. So now the community can come and contribute to this TÜV's Guide. And from every 2-3 years, we pretend to do new consolidated editions thanks to the new information that will be provided through this wiki site. Next element in terms of assets is how to do this developing of ocean forecasting services. We have gathered last year a large community of international experts, and we were working together in building what we call an architecture for ocean forecasting that will be soon published. We are just editing in a beautiful interactive PDF, and I guess that in around 2 or 3 months it will be ready for publication. So this is basically the instructions on how to build the wiring diagram on how to build one of these systems. It's a practical guide on how to wire ocean forecasting service. And now we are also going to work in one of the details of this, which are the data standards that we have identified. We have identified the tools that we need to do ocean forecasting, but we have also identified the data standards. And we are starting now an activity in collaboration with many people, with some of these DCO on ocean observing, DCO on data sharing, and many others, to define in more detail those data standards that are related to ocean forecasting. This is an example, a preview on how the one related to numerical ocean models could look like. So this is a work we are going to start in the following month. Next is, once you have the system built, you need to operate it properly. And here we have also created last year a new product, which is the operational readiness level for ocean forecasting. Basically, the operational readiness level is a collection of best practices. This gives in the form of a test. Really, the important thing are the best practices that are behind this test. So basically, every institution that is running one system could test their own, how well they are doing with respect to production, system validation, and product dissemination by using this test, by calculating their own operational readiness level. And therefore, they will be able to know where to improve the system. Maybe one system is very good on production and in system validation, but they are not doing that well on product dissemination. So this is a way to promote best practices and to promote the system evolution. Also concerning the integration in common joint frameworks, such as digital twins, can be extremely useful because it can be a guarantee that the systems are mature enough to join common frameworks. And this is exactly what my last slide is about. This is what we have now, but what we want to create is a digital ecosystem that is connecting every component, the ocean observing system, the forecasting application of the observations into the different digital twins that are going to be available by the end of the decade. And this is what we are trying to do in collaboration with all these decade actions and decade collaborative centers and programs. And this Copernicus Marine has an essential role because it's an exemplary product in terms of every single aspect that is contemplated into this whole diagram, into this whole virtuous loop. And with this, I give the floor to Marie, so she can explain a little bit more of additional international activities.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Enrique. So we now move to Marie indeed for another essential element of this international activities related to Copernicus Marine. So Marie.
Thank you, Enrique and Pierre. So as a complementary activity for the connection to the international community within the marine service, as I explained this morning, we've been organizing an ocean reanalysis workshop in 2023, and the objective was to gather the users and developers of ocean reanalysis worldwide to shape together the next generation of ocean reanalysis. So these, we believe, are a major asset of the service and a way to connect to the ocean science community too. And so as a second step in 2024, we are going to participate to the International Conference on Reanalysis in Tokyo, and also to the OceanPredict Symposium 24 in Paris that I will talk about in the following. So the objective is to organize an intercomparison exercise, and for that we will establish a list of participants and of diagnostics and metrics that we will analyze in these products, and we will make good use of all the developments that are made within the EDITO project, so that we are able to use these tools to do the intercomparison in 2025. Next, okay, I can do it myself.
No.
Fine. So, oh, sorry, it goes too quick. I need to go back one slide. Okay. Yes, please. So the next step in 2024 is to go on exchanging with Copernicus marine producers before these conferences take place. So during this summer, we are going to exchange to revise together the list of metrics for the intercomparison the list of metrics that we wish to propose as initiative, as this intercomparison is our common initiative. And so that's what is written here. And so now on the next slide, I will now explain what this OceanPredict Symposium is about. So the OceanPredict program is a scientific program of ocean prediction science that existed before even the Ocean Decade, and was called GODE to start with, and then OceanView, GODE OceanView, and then OceanPredict. And so this symposium is organized every 5 years. The last one was in Halifax, and so the next one takes place in Paris, UNESCO, and in this UN Decade of Ocean Science and Sustainable Development, of course, it is organized together with the OceanPrediction DCC, together with UNESCO as partners, and the OceanPredict community as an action, a program within the decade. It is called 4C, that you know probably, and that Enrique has mentioned, which is also coordinated by the OceanPrediction DCC. And so this symposium is going to be a very important place to exchange and to be able to connect the Copernicus marine service producers and users with the international ocean prediction community, and to discuss the concepts developed and the tools and all the work that has been developed in the Ocean Prediction DCC, to exchange on the science of ocean prediction too, modeling, data assimilation, machine learning, forecasting, services, use cases, etc. So we strongly encourage producers and users of the marine service to submit abstracts until June 17th and to join us in Paris for this OceanPredict Symposium. Thank you. Oh no, there's a conclusion, sorry. Of course, as a conclusion, as Enrique has said, the Ocean Prediction DCC works in close collaboration with the Decade partner to promote ocean forecasting and its applications. And community is already organized around the regional teams. And the first results of these efforts are already visible with the architecture, the operational readiness levels, the atlas on the website, the form on the website, and many more things to come. And in parallel, the ocean reanalysis producers are gathering around a new intercomparison exercise initiated by the Copernicus Marine Service. And so you can register on the OceanPrediction DCC website, which address is here, and you can contribute also to the OceanPredict Symposium OP24. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Marie and Enrique. So this ends this first day of the Copernicus Marine 2024 General Assembly. So thanks a lot to all speakers, participants to the roundtable that were quite instructive, and all participants that joined the meeting today. So we'll meet again tomorrow morning, so 9 a.m. sharp, Central European Summer Time. You will receive, all registered participants will receive a reminder, by the way, 1 hour before the start of the meeting tomorrow, so that is at 8, but you can follow already the same link that you used today for the live stream. So enjoy the evening or whatever, and looking forward to meeting all you again tomorrow morning for the last part of this Copernicus Marine General Assembly.